Hello children, I am Mrs. Radha Ketkar from DES Secondary School, Pune. In the last session, we have started with Geometry Lesson 3, Circle. We have discussed a few concepts. Do you remember all those concepts? We have discussed about the definition of a circle, what do you mean by secant, also about tangent, what is secant, what are chords, right? So we have discussed all these points and we have started discussion about the theorems also. So I hope you remember all these things and you have revised, you have solved the examples based on it. Now let us go to further concepts. So let us start with the example. You can see what is the question given. What is the distance between two parallel tangents of a circle having radius 5.5 centimeter? And we have to justify our answer. Now, if you look at the figure drawn, we can easily understand that it is going to be a straight line and directly we can add the radii and we can get the distance between the two tangents. But we have to prove it. So let's see how we can do it. So let us go for the solution part. What we are going to do in the construction, you can see, draw a line C parallel to A. So these are nothing but two tangents which are there for the given circle. And we are going to draw two radii. The first one is OQ and another one is OP. So we have drawn those two radii. So in the construction part, we are going to draw one line which is nothing but B. And how this B should be? This B is parallel to line A. Okay, so our construction is draw line B parallel to line A. Now look at the next line. Now you can see angle OPT is 90 degrees. This is using the tangent property. We know that radius and tangent, they are perpendicular to one another at the point of contact. Okay, so we can say angle OPT is 90 degrees. Now you can say that as line A and line B are parallel to each other, angle at P and angle at O, that means angle TPO and angle SOP, they are the interior angles. Okay, and we know that interior angles are always supplementary. That means we should be getting total of 180 there. Okay, and out of these two angles, TPO is 90, that we know using the tangent property. So obviously angle SOP will also be 90. So you can see the statement 1, angle SOP is 90 degrees. Now going to the next line, line A is parallel to line C. Okay, that is already given to us. So line A is parallel to line C and we have constructed line A parallel to line B. That means our construction line B which we have drawn is parallel to line A. Now, using these two statements, we can also say that B is also parallel to C. Okay, so therefore, line B is parallel to line C. Now, same logic can be applied at this part also. Angle OQR is 90, that is using the tangent property. Also, we can say that angle SOQ will be 90, the same logic which we used earlier, because line B is parallel to line C. So these two lines, as they are parallel, interior angles are going to be supplementary. Okay, so SOQ will also be 90. Now we can say angle SOP is equal to angle SOQ. Okay, now you can check it here. If you add these two angles, it should be addition sign, angle SOP plus angle SOQ, that is going to give us total of 180 degrees. Now once you get that total of 180 degrees, we can say that OP and OQ will be opposite rays. That means points POQ will be collinear points, right? And as these are collinear points, I can say that PQ becomes the diameter. As PQ is the diameter, it is going to be twice the radius. That's why 2 multiplied by 5.5, that gives us 11 centimeter, will be the distance between the two given tangents. So this is how we can justify our answer. Already we have discussed few things about touching circles. Now let us learn it further. The coplanar circles which have only one common point, okay, then they are known as touching circles. So you can see both the figures drawn here. In the first one, you can see these two circles are touching each other externally, okay, and they have a common point C, okay, so that is known as point of contact. So these are externally touching circles. And in the second figure, you can see that these two are internally touching circles, right? So they also have a common point of contact, that is nothing but at point C. Let us start with the theorem on touching circles. Look at the statement. If two circles touch each other, then their point of contact lies on the line joining their centers, okay? Simply, how we can say it, that here you can see for the first circle, the center is A. For the second circle, center is B, okay, and point of contact is C. Then, according to the theorem statement, we are saying that all these points should be collinear, or we can say A dash C dash B. That means these points are collinear. And this should be true for internally touching circles as well as for externally touching circles. Okay, so this is our figure for the theorem. Let us go further. So what is given? C is the point of contact of the two circles with centers A and B. Okay, and what we have to prove? That point C lies on the line AB. Okay, so let us go for the proof part of it. Let line M be the common tangent passing through point C. So you can see in the construction, through point C, we are having a tangent passing, which is nothing but M, okay, and which is common for both the circles. Okay, now line M is perpendicular to AC, okay, at point C, right, and also it is perpendicular to BC at point C. Okay, now when we say these two statements, you can understand that we can have only one perpendicular drawn, okay, which is passing through this particular point C. Okay, so only one perpendicular can be drawn to line M through point C because one point C is fixed, right? So that's why we can say that these points CAB or ACB are collinear points. Okay, so that means they lie on the same line. So important points. The point of contact of the touching circles lies on the line joining their centers. So you can see these are externally touching circles. First circle is having radius 5, another one is having 4. Then what should be the distance between these two centers? So here you can say as the points are collinear, we can add these distances. That means we can add the radii and we can get the distance between the two centers. So for the first one it is 5, for the second circle it is 4. So you can just add it up, 5 plus 4 gives you 9. So that will be the distance between the 2 points, that is nothing but P and Q. So if the circles touch each other externally, distance between their centers is equal to the sum of their radii. So that's why answer is 9 centimeter. Let us go for the next example. The distance between the centers of the circles touching internally is equal to the difference of their radii. Okay, for externally touching circles, it was addition of the radii. And when these are internally touching circles, it is going to be difference in the radii. Okay, so keep this thing in mind whenever you calculate such a thing. Okay, so one example is given. If radius of bigger circle is 15 and radius of small circle is 6, then find out distance AB. That means the distance between the two centers. Okay, So here you can see the bigger circle and the smaller circle. You're going to have the difference between the radii, 15 minus 6, that gives you 9 centimeter, right? Simple sums, mostly asked in exam, very easy to calculate. Let us try few sums from the practice set also. See the question. The circles with centers P and Q touch each other at point R. A line passing through R meets the circle at A and B. Prove that AP is parallel to BQ. Then we have to prove that these two triangles are similar. We have to find out the measure of RQB if PAR is given as 35. So let us observe. We are going to consider two triangles, triangle APR and triangle RQB. These are the triangles formed in two different circles. Now let us look at the first circle, which is colored pink. We can see here you can observe that PA and PR both are radii of that particular circle. Okay, so you can see as the radii are congruent, PA is going to be congruent to PR. So using this, we can say that triangle APR is an isosceles triangle. So once we decide that this is isosceles triangle, obviously the base angles are going to be congruent. So we can see angle formed at A and angle formed at R are congruent to one another. Okay. So then let's move on to the next circle. Here also we can say that the base angles are going to be congruent. But before that, one more fact which we are going to consider here. Consider triangle ARP and triangle QRB. Okay, now in these two triangles, consider the angle ARP angle and another angle QRB. So these are vertically opposite angles. So as these are vertically opposite angles, their measures are going to be same. So that's why you can see that in the figure they are marked with same sign, that is a small circle is shown over there. Again, when we think about the bigger circle, which is green in color, you can see QR will be congruent to QB. Again, the reason will be same, that these are radii of the same circle. Okay, so as these are radii of the same circle, the triangle which will be formed will be isosceles triangle. The base angles are going to be congruent. For angle at R, we have already discussed that due to vertically opposite angles, the two angles formed at R, one in smaller circle and one in bigger circle, they are congruent to one another. So obviously, angle QRB and angle QBR will also be congruent. Now you can see we have got four different angles which are congruent to one another. Now consider AP and QB. First thing which we have to prove here, that AP is parallel to BQ. So if you consider AP and QB and you can consider AB as the transversal, then you can see that you are getting pair of alternate angles. Now this pair of alternate angles is congruent, that we have already proved. Okay, so as the alternate angles are congruent, we can say that the lines are parallel to one another. So that's why we can say AP is parallel to QB. Now let us go on for the second part, that is we have to prove that the two triangles are similar. So APR and RQB, we have already got the required information. You can see we have got two angles each from both the triangles which are congruent to one another. So we can say by AA test the triangles are similar. One more thing you have to keep in mind here. So we have proved only for two angles. So we will be using AA test of similarity. If you are saying that these two triangles are similar by AAA test, then you will have to prove it for angle at P and angle at Q also. Okay. So obviously they are the remaining angles of the triangle. So their measures are also going to be same. But if you are using AAA, then you will have to prove that angle P is congruent to angle Q. Otherwise, you can just make use of AA test. By AA test, you can say that the two triangles are similar. Now, out of this, if one of the angle is given, okay, PAR is given as 35, then you can find out the measures of other angles. Okay, so all these congruent angles are going to be 35. So you can say for the isosceles triangle, base angles will be 35 plus 35, 70, and then easily you can find out the remaining angle of the triangle. You have to just subtract it. Okay, so 180 minus 70, so that will give you the measure for RQB. You can see here 180 minus 70 gives you 110. That is nothing but the measure of RQB. I hope you are clear with the sum. Let us go for the next one. The circles touch each other at point E. Line L is a common tangent and we have to find the length CD if radii of two circles are 4 and 6 centimeter. You can see the construction here. One line is drawn. Okay, so let us understand what exactly we are trying to do here. So you can see first thing, a blue colored circle with radius 4, yellow colored circle with radius 6. Okay, so here AC is going to be 4, also AE is going to be 4 because that is also the radius of the circle. And in the second circle you can say BD is 6 and also BE is 6 because that is also the radius of that bigger circle. Now you can see AC is marked as 4, BD is marked as 6. Okay, and according to our construction we are drawing AG which is perpendicular to BD. This is very important part of this problem. So what is important here, that you construct a segment AG which is perpendicular to BD, right? So you can see here ACDG is a quadrilateral which is formed. So what type of quadrilateral this is going to be? So you can see 390 degrees are already seen in the figure, right? So out of these three angles we can say 2 are because they are tangent perpendicular to radius and third one is our construction. So the remaining angle CAG will also be 90 degrees, right? Because that is the remaining angle of the quadrilateral. So this is going to give us a shape which is nothing but a rectangle. So if it is rectangle, then we can say AC is 4. The opposite side of AC is DG. So that part will also be 4. Okay. So you can see we can divide DB into two parts. One is DG and another one is GB. Okay. So out of which we have said DG is 4 and obviously then GB is going to be 2. Now what we can do? We can apply Pythagoras theorem here and we can try to find out the side. So if we consider triangle AGB, we can say that AE plus EB is going to give us AB, right? So AE is 4 that we know, EB is 6 that we know. So 4 plus 6 will give us 10. So AB is 10, GB is 2. Then using Pythagoras theorem, we can find out AG. So you can see we have substituted these values. 10 square is equal to AG square plus 2 square. So 100 is nothing but AG square plus 4. So that's why changing the side, AG square is going to be 96. AG will be root 96 and you have to write it in simplified form. So you can take out 16 in the square root form. So that becomes 4 root 6. Okay. So CD is going to be 4 root 6. That is the opposite side of the rectangle. Okay. So as you get AG as 4 root 6, then same side will be given for CD also because they are the opposite sides of the rectangle. Arc of a circle. A secant divides a circle in two parts. Any of these two parts and the common points of the circle and the secant form an arc of the circle. So you can see we have drawn a secant PQ, and because of this secant the circle is divided into two parts. Okay, so first part we can say it is PRQ and another part is QSP. Okay, so you can always say when you consider this secant, the part which is towards the center is always the bigger arc. Okay, so that is known as a major arc, and the part which is away from the center will be always the minor arc. So we can say PRQ is the major arc and PSQ is the minor arc. Okay, so major arc is PRQ, minor arc is PSQ. So let us talk about the major of the arc and the central angle. So we can see here major arc PSQ. You can see, you can locate that arc PSQ. Okay, will always be equal to measure of angle PCQ. Okay, now due to this arc, you can see the central angle is formed. That central angle is nothing but PCQ. So this arc and the central angle will always have the same measure. And then how do you find out the major arc over here? That is nothing but PRQ. We can get it by subtracting this number from 360. Okay, so 360 minus theta will give you measure for PRQ. So we can see here semicircular arcs. So in which condition we will get such arcs? Whenever you are having a secant which is passing through the center. So you can see the circle will be divided exactly into two halves, and we can have arc PRQ and arc PSQ, which are nothing but semicircular arcs, and their measures are going to be 180 degrees. Also their central angle will measure 180 degrees. Now we can talk about congruent arcs. Two arcs are congruent if their measures and their radii are equal. So two conditions are required. Their measure should be same and also the radii should be same, right? So you can see the first three figures all are showing the central angle as 70. That means in the first green circle you can see BC is 70. Okay, the measure of arc BC is 70. Also the central angle is 70. And same is the case with the pink colored circle. You can see EF, and in blue one you can say QR. All of them are having measures 70. But when we can call them as congruent arcs? Only when their radii are also equal. Okay, so we can see for pink and blue colored circles their radii are equal. Okay, then the arcs are going to be congruent, but which will not be the case with the first circle, because that is a bigger circle having bigger radii. Okay, or the bigger radius. Same is the case with the next figure. You can see we are having multiple circles, and in these multiple circles everywhere the central angle is 80. So corresponding arcs will also measure 80. Okay, but they will not be congruent to one another because radii are changing. Property of sum of measures of arcs. So we can see here points A, B, C, D, E. These are all concyclic points. That means they lie on the same circle. And measure of arc ACE. You can just locate it. Measure of arc ACE will be measure of arc ABC plus measure of arc CDE. Okay. That means what we are trying to do here, that we can add two arcs to get the final arc. Okay, so we can find out the measure of the third arc. Now, if measure angle APB is given as 60, measure angle BPC is given as 110, then find the measure of arc ABC. Okay, so we can make use of these central angles to find out the measures of the arcs also. So 60 plus 110, that will give us 170. Let us start with the next theorem. The chords corresponding to congruent arcs of a circle are congruent. So we can see here, the circle is there. We are having two triangles formed here, triangle PAD and triangle PCB. Okay, so here what is given? The chords which are corresponding to congruent arcs of a circle are congruent. Okay, so we have to prove that AD is congruent to CB. So what is given? Arc AD and arc CB, they are congruent to one another, that is given. Okay, so now when we look at these two triangles, we will say PA is congruent to PC, radii of the same circle. PD is congruent to PB, again radii of the same circle. And the angle which is formed at P, that means angle APD and angle CPB, that is going to be congruent, because this particular angle is due to the arc which is formed, and these arcs are congruent, that is given. So central angle also be congruent. So that's why we can say by SAS test, these two triangles will be congruent, and that's why the corresponding chords AD and BC will be congruent. Corresponding arcs of congruent chords of a circle are congruent. Now exactly the opposite scenario we can say. So here chord AD and CB, they are congruent to one another, that is given to us. And we have to prove that arc ASD and arc CTB are congruent to one another. Now again a simple job you can say. AD and CB, they are congruent, that is given. Then we can say PA congruent to PC, radii of the same circle. PD congruent to PB, again radii of the same circle. Okay, now you can see all three sides are congruent to corresponding three sides. So we can say by SSS, that is side test, these two triangles are congruent. Okay, so as the triangles are congruent, we can say that the central angles are congruent. So APD will be congruent to CPB. Okay, and as the central angles are congruent, the corresponding arcs will be congruent to one another. So we can say that's why ASD congruent to CTB. Major of these arcs will be same. So how are you finding it, children? It's really interesting. Now you can try out all the sums which are based on these theorems and keep on practicing. We will continue in the next session. Thank you so much.